Howdy folks, you're watching Deuce and Guns. And remember in my past videos, I've mentioned that there are certain types of 223 ammo or brass that you cannot use to form 300 Blackout brass when you're reloading it. Well, I went through several 5-gallon buckets of my used brass, and I came up with this amount of 223 brass that I cannot use to make 300 Blackout brass. Of course, I'll leave a list of head stamps below the video for your convenience. But I've got a lot of brass sitting here that I can't use for 300 Blackout, and I shoot a ton of 300 Blackout ammo. So there's two things I can do here. Number one is that I can save this to reload as 223 or 5.56 ammo. For the most part, I just buy that because it's super cheap. So I just buy that commercially because I can get that by 1,000 rounds, and it's pretty cheap per round. 300 Blackout is still really expensive no matter how much you buy. So I like to reload that much more than 5.56. So what if I wanted to use this? What if I want to use all this extra brass I've got as 300 Blackout brass? Well, there is a problem. When you cut off the neck of the 223 case to make the new neck of the 300 Blackout case, unfortunately, sometimes with certain manufacturers, you end up with a neck that is too thick. And with a thick neck on 300 Blackout, you either A, can't get it to go through the resizing die, and if you can, then once you put a bullet in it, it is too thick to chamber and it won't go into the chamber correctly. And of course, it has a ammo stoppage, and you got to sit there and clear that before you go on to the next round. So there's all kinds of problems with that, and you need to thin that out. So how do you thin out a neck of a case? Well, there are two different ways you can do it. Number one is you can remove material on the outside of that case, or you can remove the material from the inside of the case. If you know my channel, you know that I always go for the cheapest option first. So the first thing I did was scour the internet, and I found out that the cheapest option to turn down the neck of a case is the RCBS neck turning kit right here. Now, I say it's the cheapest option. It's still kind of expensive. It's still in the $60 to $70 range for this kit, and it works. Here's an example of me shooting it right now. We are now down on the farm here, and I have a whole magazine filled with 300 Blackout rounds made with the unloadable cases that I've turned the necks on. You can see them shiny right there. And in my background, you can see that the power company has been kind enough to build me a 200-yard range. Unfortunately, someone on the power company team needs to figure out how to daisy chain locks. I had to break into my own property today. But whatever, if that's the worst thing that happens to me today, I still win in my book. Okay, we're all suppressed, got my eyes on, we're good to go. Working beautifully. Now the problem is, number one, is that this takes forever to do. It's very time consuming, but the major problem is the fact that the case holder wears out almost instantly. Let me show you here. The case holder, that thing is gnarly. There's a close-up right there of that thing. It is gnarly, and that's after 2 magazines of ammo. So 60 rounds. 60 rounds, and this thing's almost useless already, almost already worn out. So the cheapest thing I could find that would last you forever in a day is the Forster Products trimmer with a 30 caliber end mill on it. And it's a reamer, basically. It's not an end mill, it's a reamer that goes inside the case. So you got a collet right here that goes ahead and tightens down on the case here. And this is a 300 Blackout case. And you're going to line it up a little bit here. There we go, a little bit of case lube. There we go. A little dab of do ya. And this is going to mill out the inside of that case. And that's all it's going to do. There you go, done. You see all the shavings out there. But all it did was thin down the case from the inside. Now, if you want to, you can set it up to also trim at the same time to whatever amount or degree you want to. I've not gotten around to doing that yet because I just care about the neck here. So let me show you a difference between. Here is one that has not been milled out or reamed out, and another one and this one that just has. And that is really the only step you need to take to add to your normal case forming and reloading procedure to take formerly unloadable 223 brass and make it into 300 blackout brass. Now, having this option is good for two different reasons. Number one is you could be like Deuce here and have a ton of 223 or 556 brass just hanging around doing nothing that you can't make into 300 blackout brass. Or far-fetched, option two or reason two is that the U.S. brass manufacturers, the ones that make the brass that we can use without modifying the case neck thickness, and they could start making their case walls thicker, making it a problem for us reloaders, reforming it into 300 blackout brass. And if they ever did that, I mean, there's no reason for them to start doing that, but if they ever did for some reason, then we could still utilize all that brass and already be set up to take care of it. Now, these things are not available on Amazon, or last time I checked, these are not available on Amazon. And I can't really give you any links because of YouTube's new policies. So just Google it. I can't tell you where I got this from, but just Google the Forster Products trimmer and you'll be able to find it. Well, guys, that's it for me today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like and go subscribe. A lot more of this on the way. And if you have any comments, questions, or show ideas, leave that in the comment box below the video. And of course, you guys have a great day. See ya.